Combat Aptitude Evaluation Program, number 12, entering rank B. Subject AC, Baron Flower. Call sign, V3 O'Keefe. Commencing evaluation.
Main system, activating combat mode.
Destroyed. Concluding evaluation. Well done. Arena Combat Aptitude Evaluation Program, number 11, rank. What is this?
Kinda creepy to go around ranking strangers, don't you think? Well, whatever. I'm busy, but you can have this old data.
Main system activating combat mode. Main system activating combat mode.
It appears the data contained an unauthorized message. We apologize. Terminating evaluation. Arena Combat Aptitude Evaluation Program, number 10, rank B. Subject AC, dead sled. Call sign, cold call. Commencing evaluation.
Main system activating combat mode. Main system activating combat mode. system. Activating combat mode.
Target destroyed. Concluding evaluation. Well done. Arena Combat Aptitude Evaluation Program, Number 9, Rank B. Subject AC, Steel Haze. Call sign V4 Rusty. Commencing evaluation.
Main system activating combat mode. Main system activating combat mode.
Target destroyed. Concluding evaluation. Well done. Arena Combat Aptitude Evaluation Program, Number 8, Rank B. Final evaluation. Subject AC, Milktooth. Call sign, Honest Brute. Commencing evaluation.
Main system activating combat mode. Main system activating combat mode.
This concludes B rank evaluation. Well done.
Incoming comms.
Congratulations, you have surpassed rank B. It is a great honor to witness your evolution as a mercenary. All Might exists for all mercenaries. personal request to ask you. It's about the Engabrit Tunnel, which is to be shut down after it was hit by a coral surge. I want to go there and survey the area. Even before the coral surge, that place had been all but abandoned. It's an old structure, dating far back into the colonization of Rubicon. There must be items of interest from throughout the planet's history there. As I'm sure you're aware, I have no resources with which to pay you. But I can propose an alternative. If you find any wrecks left by the PCA, you should try accessing them. Both the corporations and the Rubiconians are gathering data on PCA technology. Whatever you collect, I can exchange for credits and transfer the funds to you. I've taken a few liberties. Walter thinks you've gone on a geological survey. Thank you for doing this for me, Raven.
Main system, activating combat mode.
Let's get started, Raven. I've already located several wrecks that we should be able to recover data from. I'll send the marker data. thinks you've gone on a geological survey. Thank you for doing this for me, Raven.
Main system activating combat mode.
Let's get started, Raven. I've already located several wrecks that we should be able to recover data from. I'll send the marker data. PCA craft data. I'll exchange it for credits and send them to you later. Digital equipment. The effects of the coral surge must have brought some of the wrecks back online. Let's see what we can find. This data seems valuable too. I'm so glad this is turning into a profitable mission. Let's keep looking, Raven. An older generation of AC. According to the timestamp, this was recorded 2 days before the fires of Ibis. This seems to be about the warning signs of the calamity, right before it struck. us, AC. The Rubiconians used to pilot these. Seems to be a recording of Domayan, the Liberation Front's ideological leader. But this appears to be something exceptionally personal. Inspecting data. It's a schematic for an SG craft. This data sheds some light on the composition of the enforcement squads. Another old research institute, I see. This is about the first augmented humans. The same coral technology that created you. But without it, we never would have made contact. I'm not picking up any more data stores. If this outing has made you think about Rubicon's past or the nature of coral, then it was all worth it.
Bennett, on the NewsHour tonight, the White House says it will decide which news organizations can routinely cover President Trump, raising questions about freedom of the press.
Some 600,000 Palestinians have returned to northern Gaza. And NewsHour videographer Shams Odeh in Gaza sent us some of their stories as they seek to pry normality from destruction.
Gaza City's Shujaiya neighborhood is in ruins. Building after building, house after house, crushed and burned. But its residents resilient. Among them, 24-year-old Muayyad Harazim. The path to his apartment paved by rubble, but every day he's making it better.
The only way to enter our house was to get on the destroyed roof of the home next to us and jump over. It was difficult to enter the house. On the first day, I cleaned the stairs and removed the rubble, despite the difficulty of trying to enter the house in the first place.
Like many Gazans, Muayyad is clearing the rubble from his home with his own bare hands.
When I was cleaning, I was overcome with sadness to think how life was a year and a half ago. I thank our home truly for staying upright despite all the attacks it endured.
He too somehow endures. Every day, Muayyad documents his journey of rebuilding to make his home feel like a home again. When he looks out, there's destruction as far as the eye can see. But in his videos posted to Instagram, he shares moments that reveal even in war, life goes on.
This is very difficult to remove rubble and stone. This is hard work and labor. After a difficult day, seeing people's positive comments on my videos really helps me keep going.
So far, he's transformed his bedroom from this to this, and turned their living room from this to this. Not as homely as it once was, but habitable.
We are not trying to romanticize reality. Reality is how you see it. It is a painful struggle. Gaza needs you now more than ever. Everything is destroyed. We need help removing the rubble and rebuilding and starting our lives over.
This month, President Trump reiterated his vision of U.S. ownership over Gaza.
We will have Gaza. What is that? No reason to buy. There is nothing to buy. It's Gaza. It's a war-torn area. We're going to take it. We're going to hold it. We're going to cherish it.
Take it under what authority? It is sovereign territory.
Under the U.S. authority.
Forcibly displacing Gazans would amount to a war crime. Muayyad says for him and millions of Gazans, this is their home and they're not going anywhere.
My message to Trump or any person out there is clear. We were displaced for a year and a half and we're in pain and struggle. It's ridiculous to think that we have to leave Gaza and immigrate elsewhere. We love our homes and neighborhoods.
But many Gazans don't even have a home to return to. At this cemetery east of Gaza City, families now live next to the dead.
Every time we try to find a spot to put a tent, we find graves, or bodies, or bones, as you see there.
35-year-old Ahmed Saad gave us a tour of their macabre reality.
When we got here to set up the tents, we found bones. Here's one here. Anything bones we find, we have to put in this hole here, which is a grave. And what you're
This is about the ice worm. That Institute relic you had a run-in with. The corpse might stand a chance if it were just the PCA they were teaming up against. But that monster is a whole other story. You can't just throw bodies at it. The thing that makes it such a pain in the ass is its perpetual reactive shield. Coral tech. Takes advantage of the coral's directivity. Ordinary weapons can't touch it. So let's get extraordinary. I can make you something that'll punch a hole in that shield. But I'll need your help. You'll be heading to Grid 012, one of the first sectors they built, and it's barely holding up. That's where a little rat who betrayed RAD is hiding out. Goes by the name of Honest Brute. This AC Milktooth was built by us, so its only flaw is that it's piloted by him. When he ran from RAD, he didn't just take credits in tech. He also took a secret project of mine. And that secret project is what we'll need to bust open the ice worm's shield.
Bennett, on the NewsHour tonight, the White House says it will decide which news organizations can routinely cover President Trump, raising questions about freedom of the press.
Are bones, as you see there.
35-year-old Ahmed Saad gave us a tour of their macabre reality.
When we got here to set up the tents, we found bones. Here's one here. Anything bones we find, we have to put in this hole here, which is a grave. And what you're standing on right now is also a grave.
Ahmed has been helping this community to build up tents, but every day brings a new horror.
We found a body here when putting up the tent. Here it is. I dug out half of it and the other half is still there. Is this not a shroud? This is it. This is the struggle we are experiencing.
Gaza's official death toll has crossed 48,000. Human rights groups believe that to be an underestimate. Grave sites are full of unidentified remains, and many are still buried under the rubble.
We are dead like these bodies here. We have no address, and no one is asking about us. So what we're asking for is for those who have any mercy in their hearts, or leaders to come and see our conditions.
The temporary ceasefire is shaky. A permanent ceasefire is uncertain at best. But even an end to this war would mark just the beginning of a long road ahead to rebuild Gaza.
As the Trump administration continues to downsize and dismantle many government agencies, the Department of Education could be next on the chopping block. At stake are resources and support for more than 7 million students with disabilities who depend on the agency to ensure access to a free public education. And that's at a time when they're already struggling to receive quality schooling because of a shortage of special education teachers. Judy Woodruff reports as part of our series, Disability Reframed.
14-year-old Spencer Nichols loves taking care of his farm animals at home in Macon, Georgia. It's a break after a long school day where he has little autonomy. Spencer has Down syndrome. Almost the entire day he's in a small classroom with other students with disabilities.
It's kind of a rough day for me, but maybe I'll go on some days. And my mom helps me a lot.
His mother, Pam Nichols, says he's denied the same chance to succeed as his non-disabled peers. She says he can't pick his own elective classes and isn't progressing like he should.
And there's 6 students, and they're all taught at the same level. I have to challenge the school to go to the library and use the data from the testing to say Spencer can read at the 3rd or 4th grade level. These are appropriate books. It stalls his development and doesn't make him necessarily ready for society.
Pam says Spencer should be in more general education classes, but his middle school lacks the resources and staff to support students with disabilities.
Unfortunately, his one class is science, that he is allowed to be in the gen ed classroom. They had a science test. I messaged the teacher, it was after school, and I said, what am I supposed to be focused on for Spencer? And she said, we will have Spencer color during the science test. I said, well, you don't understand. I want him to learn this.
In 1975, President Gerald Ford signed a landmark federal law that gave students with disabilities the right to a free public education in the least restrictive environment. When Congress passed the law, it said the federal government would cover 40% of the average per student cost. But 50 years later, federal funding sits at just about 10%. So the majority of the money comes from state and local sources, which has stretched thin public schools required by law to provide this education.
They aren't able to actually fund appropriate one-on-one services for these kids. Some kids who absolutely need this in order to make progress in the curriculum.
David Bateman is a special education researcher at the American Institutes for Research. He says more federal funding is important, but so is how school leadership thinks about students with disabilities.
The attitude and tenor that a building level administrator sets for their building flows through everything. If everyone treats it as these kids are part of our class, they're going to be part of what's going on, it's just an accepted thing, that sets a tone.
About 20 miles south of Atlanta in Jonesboro, Georgia, 17-year-old Todd Estes says he's been in schools where he doesn't feel valued. Todd has ADHD and a learning disability which affects how he comprehends new concepts. How do you think about your learning? What do you think your learning style is?
I just learn slower. I just need to learn it like 3 or 4 times before I get it.
His mother, Priscilla Estes, says some of his general education teachers weren't well trained to approach Todd's learning differences.
They called me because Todd was underneath the table in class crying and would not come out from under the table. I knew that adults would say things to them instead of encouraging them, discourage them, label them. It hinders the learning going forward, because if you hear that you are a bad student or you cannot learn, which my kids were actually told.
By teachers?
By teachers.
So in 6th grade, Priscilla enrolled Todd in private school, where he gets some accommodations, like longer test times and delayed deadlines. But many private schools aren't required to give special education and aren't typically monitored by the U.S. Department of Education for compliance.
I could not see Todd going to the next public school in the 6th grade, dealing with a larger amount of students in the school. And when you deal with a larger amount of students, then you have to also deal with teachers who are more stressed.
She says at least now Todd has smaller class sizes and more one-on-one instruction, something he lacked because of the shortage of qualified special ed teachers.
I'd like it to be closed immediately. Look, the Department of Education's a big con job.
It's why David Bateman says President Trump's reported plans for the U.S. Department of Education could further overwhelm public schools that need more support.
They would then probably have to provide much, much larger class sizes, cut away some of the extracurricular activities, cut away some of the other things that we think about as part of the education, they would have to cut.
He says it could also end a critical oversight mechanism that ensures states use federal funds correctly.
The federal government, from the U.S. Department of Education, flows money to the states, who then flows the money to the local school district. And in exchange for that local school district receiving this money, they have to provide justification to the state that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
And it could affect resources and training for special education teachers. Last year, about 70% of public schools reported special education teacher vacancies. About half of those teachers leave the profession within the first 5 years of teaching.
They're just like any other student. They just require a little bit more attention.
Priscilla Green is in her 4th year teaching students with disabilities in a classroom with other non-disabled students. She modifies their lessons and sometimes teaches small groups. She says it's her mother, a special education teacher for 20 years, who inspires her.
Seeing a student who struggled and then to see them win, to see them have a breakthrough. For me, it's so rewarding. It's the best job I've ever had.
Her career, though, comes with its challenges. She often has to take her work home, which takes time away from her family. How many hours do you work at home a week?
If I had to count, I would say at least 7 to 10 hours a week. When I first started education, my caseload was about 6 to 7 students. Now we're up to 12, and when you have a bigger caseload, that's more data, more meetings, more one-on-one support.
She says paying bonuses to typically underpaid special ed teachers might bring more people to the field, but support from school leadership is what keeps them there.
For those challenges to be addressed, more time, allowing us more time to focus on our kids.
And she says so would giving teachers feedback with how to address behavioral concerns.
We're dealing with a lot of children who are struggling to self-regulate, going back to COVID and being in the house for a year and not really learning those problem-solving skills. And some of the behaviors are just a reaction because they can't grasp the materials. When you put all of that together in a classroom, it's difficult
to help our students with their learning and behavior.
A Georgia Department of Education program aims to fill the gap by training early career special education teachers to maximize learning time.
Great job, guys. We did a
24-year-old Gracie Cottrell is in the program. It includes a mixed reality lab where teachers can practice speaking to online student avatars and hear feedback from their peers.
It also just allows us to make mistakes in a low-pressure environment where, you know, if you don't really know what to say or you say the wrong thing, no harm, no foul in that situation where you're really just practicing being a teacher.
What's this sound? Oi.
She says that training helps in her real classroom. But as the demand for special education teachers rises, many schools are struggling to keep up. It's why Pam Nichols in Macon says more resources, not less, should be dedicated to students with disabilities. She says President Trump's proposal to cut the Department of Education makes them even more vulnerable.
It's scary. For me, in Macon, the public school system is the only option for Spencer. We've learned from the days when children like Spencer were institutionalized and they didn't learn to read. Through early intervention services, they now are reading, they are doing math. These can be very meaningful contributors to society. We just need to give them a little bit of extra, and it will go a long, long way.
And Spencer has ambitions of his own, owning a home, and one day working in the restaurant industry. Pam says she will keep fighting for him to get the quality education that will get him there. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Judy Woodruff in Macon, Georgia.
For NASA astronauts Sunny Williams and Butch Wilmore, the long wait to return to Earth